Welcome to the video. My name's Steven. In this video, we're going to talk about 10 masculine skills that my dad never taught me. Stick around till the end. We're going to start off very, very basic at the beginning. As you can see, this side of the board is very crunched up, but as we get further along the list, it's going to get a little bit more serious and also a little bit more controversial. If you like this content, go ahead and subscribe. I make content all the time. Let's go ahead and get into it. First disclaimer I want to make, I'm not here to show you how to do this. I'm here to show you what to do and why to do it. Now, there are going to be some hows, there are going to be some steps that you can take with each one of these things, but I will tell you right now, in the last 3 years, since I started my self-improvement journey, my business journey, and I started applying some of this stuff into my life, I've seen significantly better day-to-day living than I did in the past. I had a really, really shitty experience for my first 20 years of my life, just playing video games, jerking off, watching TV, eating junk food. Now I'm in the best physical condition of my entire life. I get paid a lot more than I did when I was working a 9-to-5 job. I work for myself, and I'm very, very happy in my life today. So we're going to talk about everything. We're going to go, business, everything, fucking relationships, everything you can think of. Let's go ahead and dive into it. So how to use this. Take these topics that I'm going to be giving you in this video and do your own research. All right, so I want you to take every principle that I'm giving you here, and then I want you to go do your own research on every single one of them and figure out what works best for you, the best method for you, right? Test and iterate. So try things out. You're going to see there's going to be methods in here that I'm going to give you. Try them out. If you don't like them, iterate them, make them different, and do your own research, and then refer back to it. So whenever you learn one topic or you forget something, refer back to this video and look over everything on this board so you can see what the skill is that you need to learn. So the first one we're going to go over is exercising and your body. So taking care of your body. There's 4 parts to this. There's fitness, diet, sleep, and environment. I want to mention all of these very importantly because I think a lot of people just think the gym and then like what you eat is how you take care of your body, but it's not. It's everything. So sleep and your environment are very, very important. So I want to mention that in here quickly as well. Again, not going to go over this too much, but find a thing that you like to do to exercise, whether that be go to the gym, run, or whatever it is. You need to find a way to lift weights or to gain muscle, right? And you also need to find a way to keep your body in good shape as well. That also comes with your diet. And then your sleep. This is probably the most important thing. You need to be getting consistently like 8.5 hours of sleep or whatever it takes for you to get better sleep. You can get the Oura Ring, or you can get like a sleep tracking app where it'll track your sleep. So make sure you are doing that stuff, doing everything that's required to fix your sleep. I think I have videos on my channel about that. If you just kind of scroll back to the past, you'll find some stuff about like how to wake up earlier in the morning, how to go to bed on time, that kind of stuff. And then your environment. So this is actually the most important part, and one that I don't think a lot of people discuss when talking about your body. So your environment's very important, and this is not only just like what's around, but also the people too. So you're going to have people in your life, especially if you're in your early 20s right now. You'll probably have friends and family who you've grown up with your entire life that have just been there for some odd reason, and they're your friends. But when you really think about it, like they're actually not doing anything good for your life. They're kind of just there, and they like promote drug usage or drinking a lot or eating junk food, that kind of stuff. You'll have friends like that. And a big term that I like to use is you're not friends, you're just addicted to the same drugs. So make sure that you have the right friends around you, but also the right environment too. This environment that I'm in is optimized for me to work. My room is optimized for me to sleep. I keep it that way. All right, so make sure you have a clean environment, an environment that promotes eating healthy and sleeping healthy, and fitness, of course, right? So that's number 1. Not going to go too deep into that. Number 2 is fighting. Dude, you have to learn how to fucking fight. I will never, ever not argue this point. The best decision I've made this entire year was signing up for my local MMA gym. You need to learn how to kick somebody's ass, because if you ever get into a situation where you're in trouble and you have to fight somebody, you need to know how to do that. More importantly, it's fun. It's great for discipline. It's a great exercise. And let's be honest, women love a man that can kick somebody's ass. So there's 2 things here with fighting. You have hand-to-hand combat, and then you have ground combat. Okay, we're not talking about like shooting pistols and knives and all that stuff. You can get into knives and like that kind of combat, but real combat that we're talking about here is hand-to-hand and ground combat. Particularly with ground jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is really, really good, but there's a bunch of other great martial arts out there that you can try out but you're going to usually find jiu-jitsu in a lot of places. And then hand-to-hand combat, it's either like Muay Thai, kickboxing, boxing, whatever it is. My recommendation is to try both. I actually enjoy jiu-jitsu more, but I still go to kickboxing classes occasionally, and I go to my MMA sparring classes as well. My action step for you, most of the gyms that you have, or most of the gyms in your area, have a free week. Just sign up for the free week, bro. Like, thank me later. The free week will change your life. I'm telling you, just do one free week of jiu-jitsu, absolutely life-changing. And then you'll never want to stop going. So there's no excuse. You need to know how to fight as a man. So number 3 is find the others. Now, when I say find the others, I mean find the other people that are going to add value to your life and be a genuine asset for your entire life. So that way you can move forward and actually have like good people in your life. Like I was talking about previously, you probably have people in your life who have been there your entire life. They're just like, whatever, like they're your friends, but they like to do drugs, like to drink on the weekends. And it's very important that you find the right people. So we're going to talk about, in the first part here, we're talking about how to find these people. And so that would be 1, locations that you frequent where people are productive. Let me say it again, locations you frequent where people are productive. So you're going to want to go to the gym, the coffee shops, bookstores, wherever it is, and then find people and talk to them there. And we'll talk more about like actually talking to strangers like later in this. But you need to find people in those areas to become your friends. Not in a fucking bar, all right? Not at some nightclub, in the gym, in like, again, locations you frequent where you do productive things, all right? Even in the store, right? And you can still find good friends in bars too. I'm not saying to wave that off, but at the same time, you're going to probably find better friends outside of the bar scene, outside of the clubbing scene. And also I've come to find out myself that a lot of those relationships never really go anywhere. Usually I'll meet somebody in a bar, we'll have a conversation, we'll exchange phone numbers, and then like 9 times out of 10, we really don't discuss anything afterwards or have much conversation moving forward. It's just kind of, that's what it is. And then if I see them again, I say hi, but I really only see them there. You know, the best places, the best friends that I've found have been from like the gym or the coffee shop or that kind of thing. The second place is online communities. This is a great way to find friends. School is a good platform. I'll actually tell you some of my best friends in my life right now I met in a school community. I had another guy I met in a school community who actually gave me some really, really good advice about sales, who runs the same business model that I do. And since then, my business has significantly improved just because I had an hour-long conversation with the guy. So I would recommend checking out School. It's an online platform that Sam Ovens and Alex Ramosi created. If you're not familiar with School, I say it because some people actually don't know what School is. And you can meet people in there and you can learn a lot of skills as well. A lot of the stuff I'm talking about, there's plenty of school communities on this stuff, and some of them are free. So I would check that out. Now, the next part, what makes a good friend? This is very, very important. Pay attention to this. Do not fuck this up. They celebrate wins with you. Anytime you have a win, they celebrate. They're there for you in your losses, and they do not compare. All right, so if they start comparing themselves, like, for example, you had a really bad situation happen, and they go, oh, well, you know, it doesn't compare to my situation that happened, or I feel you, bro. This is my situation. Like, a really, really good way is if, like, say you just got out of a relationship and you're talking about like an ex, like you're talking about your breakup, you're going through a breakup, you're telling your buddy about it, and he starts fucking telling you about his breakup and all this shit, bro, that guy's not a good friend. They push you. So I've had plenty of people that I keep in my life, and they specifically are there because they've pushed me when at my lowest. So they've came to me and said, Steven, you're fucking up. You need to go do something better. You need to build. You need to do something else. They push you. They're the friends that wake you up at 5 o'clock in the morning and say, let's go to the gym. You need to have those people in your life. Purpose driven. So obviously somebody that's on a purpose, that has something going on in their life other than just sitting around playing video games all day. You want to have those people in your life because especially if your purposes align with each other. Like, for example, one of my best buddies, he runs a video agency and I run a marketing agency. So together, he does videos for some of my clients. I do the actual media buying, and we can collab together. And we've worked together on numerous projects, and we have a great time with each other because we're both purpose-driven. And then finally, for the last one, good with women. I know this sounds crazy, but like, you have to have friends in your life that are good with women, bro. Like, it is fucking insane to me how many men out there just are not good with women. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, but you just can't be bad at it. Like, there are some people that just are fucking terrible. And the reason why is because a lot of these guys will snake you out for other girls. and if they're willing to snake you out for other girls, they're also willing to snake you out in business. They're willing to snake you out in life. You need to have like guys that are good with women by your side. Also, this is the kind of guy that's constantly chasing women. So like you'll have this guy who he just isn't reliable because he's always chasing after girls, right? This is that friend that's supposed to be the designated driver and he just dips off with a chick and doesn't tell anybody. You don't want a guy like that in your life. All right. More importantly, you don't want your buddy to come snake you around women. Also, women look for men that are pre-selected, and pre-selected means that, everybody else like you have like an aura, like people gravitate towards you. Right. And so, women want a man that has friends that are pre-selected. If your friends aren't pre-selected and they show they're not pre-selected when they're not good with women because they're not operating out of abundance, they're operating out of scarcity and lust. They see that and they don't want to be with you. So, if you have stupid friends, your girl's not going to be around very long. Number 4, meta skills. So you need to learn how to learn. This is very simple. Meta is basically like speaking of the domain. Like it's talking about the domain. It's like breaking the fourth wall, right, of life. So you have to learn these meta skills of like awareness, right? You need to have awareness of like meta awareness. Like you need to understand the domain you're in, right? There's a certain way that you operate when you are, say, sitting in a coffee shop versus sitting in a gym. Right. And you need to have that awareness in social interactions, but then also like learning. So you need to learn. Like you need to learn how to learn. So you need to know your best way of learning, whether that's hands-on, whether that's teaching, like how I do. You need to figure out what it is that helps you learn. And then principles, not formulas. So I always tell myself this: learn the principles, understand the principles, not the formulas. I think school always teaches formulas. The reason for this whole video, I'm not here to teach you formulas. I'm giving you some direction. When I'm talking about like going in the free week for jiu-jitsu, you need to understand principles. I'm here to teach you principles because you can go figure out the formulas on your own. But with the principles, you don't need the formulas. Okay. I don't need a formula for how to figure out customer acquisition cost for a Facebook ad. I can just look at my statistics and say, this is how much the customer costs to acquire. That's because I've understood the principles long enough. For number 5, we have influence. You need to know how to influence other people. So you need to understand speaking skills. You need to learn how to properly pronunciate certain conversations and situations. I'm not the best speaker. Sometimes I still and through certain things. But you know what? I have enough speaking skills to where I know how to capture someone's attention, right? Sales, you need to learn how to ask other people for money. You need to get good at that. You need to learn how to ask other people for money for something that you do. All right, sales is everything. Every human interaction is basically sales. Like whenever you're trying to convince your buddy to go out to the bar with you, that's a fucking sale. You need to learn how to do that. You also need to understand human behavior. Okay, you need to understand not only how you act, but how other people act as well, and how some people will try to manipulate you to get certain things out of you or get stuff out of you. You need to be able to capture that stuff. You need to catch that. I actually have a really good video on my channel about manipulation tactics that I made a long time ago. It kind of blew up out of nowhere. It's like a picture of me with a chessboard. People love that shit. You can go check that out. I think it's one of my most viewed videos. So I have 3 book recommendations for this. We have How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. We have Influence by Robert Cialdini. And then The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. You need to read these books, okay, because this will help you understand how to influence other people and human psychology. You need to be very aware of that. Now, coming into number 6, this is actually one of the biggest panels, and the reason why is because this is probably one of the most important things ever, right? We're getting over to the bigger side of the board here. Emotional control. You cannot go through life as a man without this skill, all right? Life is fucking hard, and you need to get over that. And if you can't control your emotions, you are going to have a very terrible life because you're always going to be affected by circumstances and other people. You cannot allow yourself to be like that. Sometimes people are going to do you wrong. Sometimes the circumstances are going to suck. Sometimes you're going to fucking spill your water on the ground. Sometimes your client's going to fuck off. Like, there's plenty of things that can happen. You need to learn how to say, okay, you know what, whatever, and just continue working and continue moving through life. Because if you can't do that, you're going to get stuck at every single obstacle. And it's hard. Life as a man is hard, and it's supposed to be. Okay? So one thing that you can do is meditate. Learn how to meditate. Just sit still, understand, and analyze your brain and your thought patterns, and learn how to push thought patterns away, right? I didn't write this, but when you have a thought, if you start thinking about that thought, that's where the emotions come from. So you should just have the thought and then push it away, right? I have thoughts that come through my mind right now as I'm making this video about things completely unrelated. But guess what? I'm pushing those thoughts away so that way I can make this video and stay on the topic. Now, remember this. I say this to myself all the time, and you can take the word anger and you can put any other emotion here I've found. But anger is an emotional punishment you give yourself for someone else's behavior. Let me say it again. Anger is an emotional punishment you give yourself for someone else's behavior. So you don't have to be angry. You give yourself this emotional punishment because of someone else's behavior. Don't allow yourself to live that way. And the same thing goes for a lot of other emotions as well. Someone else's behavior or the circumstances made you emotional. Stop being so emotional. The next thing is being purpose-driven. So when you're purpose-driven, it doesn't matter. My goal is to build the greatest marketing agency of all time. So my girl texts me right now and she says, hey, I don't want to see you anymore. Okay, it doesn't matter because I'm making my video. I'm running a marketing agency. I got shit to do. I don't have time for that, right? A fucking tree falls outside on the car. All right, yeah, that sucks. Let's get it fixed. We got to get back to work. See? Things can happen. Things suck, but you have to get over it. Alrighty, number 7. We're getting to the good stuff. Being paid for your value. So there are 4 ways to get paid. 1, you have time. This is 80% of people. This is working a 9-to-5 job, $15 an hour, whatever it is. Value, this is where you need to be. Value is getting paid for a skill that you've learned and being able to charge whatever you want for it, right? That's very important. You need to learn how to get paid for your value. Knowledge is the next one. So this is getting paid for, what you know. And then existing, that's like 1% of people. That's like, honestly, it's like the 0.1% of people. These are like your superstars and all your celebrities and stuff. Those aren't, you're not there. Knowledge is the next step, but value comes first. You need to learn how to get from here to here. Time to value. Because if you're still getting paid for your time in 2025, you're going to have to do something about it. All right. My life is significantly better. I do whatever I want to do. I wake up when I want to wake up. I live the life that I want to live, and I provide immense amount of value to my clients. My clients pay me for my value. If I went to my client tomorrow and said, hey, you're not going to pay me whatever they're paying now, you're going to pay me something else. Like if I go to my client and said, you have to pay me 10 grand a month now, I'm not going to do that. But I'm just saying, if I wanted to do that, my clients know that I'm valuable enough to where they would pay that money, and they're getting enough of an ROI to where they would pay me $10,000 a month. Okay. So understand that I'm in a position right now where I can go to somebody and say, I want 5 grand for this. Like just to be here, to be on this project, I want $5,000 for this. And I've had people say, here you go, here's the money. All right. Like I already sent you the fucking check because I'm valuable enough. And at some point I will be valuable enough to where they can pay me 30, 40 grand. I've seen there are people out there right now who have like speeches and events, and every single chair at that speech was like $30,000. So like 200 people showed up to this event and paid $30,000. So you need to learn how to do that. And here's the basic premise of it at the bottom here. Learn a skill, ask people to buy that, whatever that skill is, right? So like I was saying before, learn how to ask people for money and then do that for 5 years. So I'm on year 3. I'm doing really good for year 3. And, I know people who've all kind of told me like year 5 is kind of when it gets the best. So I don't really know where, but I'm 2 years away. So because I've spent time learning the skill. So number 8, being bored. So you cannot get paid for your value unless you learn this. You cannot do that because if you don't know how to be bored, you will never ever be able to sit down and do something creative. Perfect example. Today's Sunday. It's morning, right? It's like 11 o'clock. I was bored. I got up and then I made all this stuff for this video. So creativity. I can be creative. This is fun to me, right? But I had to learn how to be bored first because if I was sitting there playing video games, I would have never gotten up and made this video. And so that's kind of the big thing here is like, you need to learn how to remove cheap dopamine from your life. Okay. What is cheap dopamine? Dopamine is a reward chemical in your brain for when you do something. The problem is there's so much cheap dopamine everywhere that you consistently do it all the time. What does that look like? Video games, YouTube, TV, jerking off, all sorts of shit. There's plenty of stuff that prevents you from being great, and it's made to distract you. All these distractions. Cheap dopamine is a distraction from getting the real dopamine hit. The dopamine hit that I'll get from posting this video on YouTube is going to be a lot higher than what I would have gotten from playing video games. Even if this video gets 2 views, I will still have a higher dopamine hit than playing video games. But if I was constantly playing video games, I would never want to do this because the video games are so stimulating. And then you need to learn how to sit still and do nothing. And like I was saying before, it's just like meditation. You need to learn how to sit still and do nothing. All right? That's what it is, basically. So there's that one. Coming in at number 9, we have cold approaching. This skill is something that I've been trying to learn this year, and it has changed my fucking life. All right? In order to find the others, you need to learn how to walk to strangers and say something. And it doesn't matter if it's a guy, a girl, whatever it is, you need to be able to do this, okay? Because there are going to be people and situations in your life where you could meet great people, but you didn't because you were scared to go talk to them. I used to be that guy. I used to get like super nervous in public, was scared to go talk to other people, scared to go talk to that pretty girl. I've changed that recently, and my life is so much better. All right, so start speaking to strangers, talk to pretty women, get rejected, and also get stories. You'd be surprised, but the more you talk to strangers, the more stories you'll get. I've had plenty of times where I go talk to a stranger, they tell me this wild story or they say something crazy, and I can sit there and laugh about it. You don't know how many times I've said hi to a stranger and they've kind of just looked at me like super weird and just walked away, right? I actually have a funny story. The other day, I was up in Nashville, and I saw this girl across the street, and I thought she was really pretty, and I went up to go talk to her, and I dropped my fucking water bottle on the ground, like right in front of her, and it was so awkward. And she saw it, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, shit, this is, like, I mean, imagine, like, the first impression of me in front of this chick was, like, the water bottle's rolling down the street. So I go over and, like, grab the water bottle, and then I go start to talk to her. We have a conversation for about 15 minutes. And then after that, I get her phone number, and we end up going out to dinner the next night. Crazy fucking story. So you would think I have to be walking over, like, all super, like, hey, oh, like, you super pretty, all this stuff. I'm really into you. Like, what's your name? Having a real conversation. No. I dropped my fucking water bottle. You'd think that's awkward as fuck. Maybe you want to walk away. I didn't do that. And I still ended up going on a date with this chick. So I think that's a pretty interesting story. Once again, something to tell. So it's a good story. And then how I have fixed approach anxiety, because I know a lot of people have this, like, they're scared to go talk to other people. So first of all, I like to have a childlike curiosity. So I'll start looking around at things and being like, oh my God, look at this pen. Look at how like black this pen is. Like, look at how nice this handwriting is up here. And look at that subscribe button down below that you should probably click right now. And it's just such a nice subscribe button. And the trees outside are so pretty. And I get like, I don't know, it just makes me excited. So I'll say I have this childlike curiosity about everything. Like, oh my God, wow. That book is so red, or that chair is so, and all sorts of stuff like that, and start saying that to myself. And it sounds so silly that I like start to smile and like kind of laugh to myself. It makes you look approachable because you're like excited. You're like happy to be there. And most people aren't happy to be there. So other people will look at you and they'll smile and they'll wave at you and say stuff. And then the more you notice things, the more you'll notice things about other people too. So you can look at someone and be like, hey, wow, you have a really nice dress on. And the girl will go, oh my God, thank you. And then you're like, what's your name? And then now you're in a conversation, and now potentially you might have just, started a conversation with someone that might be in your life for a little while. So who knows? Warm-up routine. I like to just say hi to strangers all the time. Hi, good morning, how are you? I like that purse. I don't really say that shit anymore, but I used to do that all the time when I had like bad approach anxiety. And then when you're actually having a conversation, stories and assumptions. Those are the 2 things that you can do the entire time. So, like, I'll make an assumption about someone. I'll see a random guy. I'll say, like, hey, man, how are you? He'll go, oh, I'm doing all right. I'll say, the way you said that, it just kind of sounds like you're not having a good day, man. What's going on? And he's like, oh, well, this, and now we're in a conversation. Stories as well. So there's, like, 5 questions that people ask when they're getting to know each other. It's like, where are you from? What do you do for work? Are you in school? Like that kind of stuff. You should have a story for every single one of those things. So like if someone asks me, what do I do for work? I'll say, yeah, man, I actually started a marketing agency a couple years ago. I ended up dropping out of college, and it was like after this, I had this like really bad car accident, and I was like, screw it, I'm gonna like go all in on something, and so I broke my hip in the accident, and when I got up from, when I broke my hip, I was trying to find better ways to make money online. During that time, I had a lot of time thinking about how I wanted to grow and become a better person and do a bunch of different things in life, like just not be the 9-to-5 guy. And so I sat down one day and I figured out like how to do like how to build CRMs, customer relationship management tools for like companies. And so I did that. And then one of my clients asked me to start running ads for him. And then I did that. And then it kind of turned into this whole thing. And so now I run a marketing agency. I make pretty good money. I have a couple of people that work for me, and I have a lot of friends that kind of help me out along the way. And I really enjoy it. What do you do for work? Right. And so you can kind of tell people a story so they feel like they get to know you better when you're having a conversation for the first time. So that's very important. And let's go ahead and get over to the last one, number 10, the red pill. Yeah. I have never felt better understanding this concept. The red pill in the dating world is essentially there's a blue pill and there's a red pill. The blue pill is the normal, like, get married, have kids, happily ever after. The red pill is, this is the reality of how masculine and feminine relationships work. When I discovered the red pill, my idea of how dating dynamics worked completely changed. And the reason why is because it's not the cookie cutter, let's get married and have kids that you've been told your entire life. And you cannot have a fulfilling dating life without understanding this concept. It's not going to happen. Okay, you're going to get heartbroken, you're going to get cheated on, you're going to have girls flake on you, you're not going to understand what's going on. You're going to have a rough time. I'm telling you right now, you need to get this concept. The red pill is understanding real, true masculine and feminine dynamics. And I'm going to tell you, feminine nature is brutal. And if you don't get it, it's going to fuck with you. You're always going to get heartbroken. You're always going to have a shitty time dating. Okay? This is because we're logical as men. Women are emotional. And if you don't understand how they're emotional, then you're never going to be able to have a happy time dating them. All right. I'm not going to dive too deep into this because this is a really hard pill to swallow. This shit right here took me a long fucking time to understand, and a lot of heartbreak and a lot of suffering and a lot of bullshit. Don't go through life expecting this, okay, we met each other and now we're going to get married and everything. Because what happens, and I've seen this happen to a lot of men, is they get stuck in relationships with a woman who is a pain in the ass, and then they stick around because they want to keep getting laid. And they feel like, oh, well, if I just buy her the house and I just, get her the ring, she's going to love me more. No. And what ends up happening is this guy is 45 years old. He's on Reddit trying to figure out how to get his wife to have sex with him. She doesn't even want to touch him anymore. She doesn't want to talk to him. She hates his guts. She divorces him, takes the kids, and he blows his fucking brains out. This is a real thing. This happens. All of this shit, I know, like at a subconscious level, like deep down, all of this shit, the reason why you want to build yourself as a man is because you want to attract better quality women. Like that, you can hide that all day, but like exercising, bro, come on. Like, yeah, you can say, okay, I'm doing this for myself. And it's true. But like deep down inside, you already know. If there were no women on this earth, we would probably all just be sitting around watching TV. Deep down inside, you want to have nice muscles because you want to attract pretty women. All right. You can sit here and like cope all you want to, but that's just not the truth. All right. If you build yourself and you take everything else that I described in this video and you build something great, the last thing that you fucking need is a woman to take it all away from you in a divorce. Do not let that happen to you. All right. And I'm going to give you this as well too. Never, ever take a woman's advice on feminine nature. Don't. I promise you, bro, they don't even know what they want. All right. Don't listen to a woman on any of this. You need to listen to men on this one. Okay. You got to listen to men because they know what they're talking about. Women do not know what they're talking. They don't know what they want. All right. They'll tell you what they want. And to be honest, 9 times out of 10, you need to do the opposite. Okay. So I'm going to give you some book recommendations. You need to go read both of these books. The Rational Male by Rollo Tomassi and The Unplugged Alpha by Richard Cooper. You need to read both of those books. And then you can go down the rabbit hole on your own. You need to at least understand this concept. Okay? I'd argue this is the most important one. That's why I made it last. It's also very controversial, and I don't talk about this shit on my page. You have to understand this shit. And also, I just want to make this very clear. This is going to fuck with your mental health. All right? Like, it's going to hurt. All right? It's like in The Matrix. If you ever seen the movie The Matrix, when Neo takes the red pill, and Morpheus, like, he tells him that he's sorry because usually they don't pull people out of the Matrix so late because the mind has a hard time adapting it. Learn this shit right fucking now, bro. Because I guarantee if you're 20, 21 years old, it's the perfect time. If you learn this shit in your 40s, you're in trouble. It's going to be a lot harder for you. So it is going to mess with your mental health. It's going to be hard, especially if you've like recently been through a breakup or if you've ever experienced it before. This is going to mess with your mental health. It's also going to mess with your dating for just a little bit. Okay. If you're dating, you'll see a girl and she'll do something and it'll hit you. Like, it'll hit you like a ton of bricks. You'll be like, oh my God, like it'll go off as warning signs. Like, look, she's doing that thing. She's doing that thing right there. And, but after a while you'll get over it, but it needs to be like in your brain. You need to understand this stuff. So I've given you the 10 things. Like I said, you need to take these concepts, do your own research, figure out your own stuff, figure out what works for you, and then make it your thing. And then refer back to this video. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and subscribe button. I put a lot of energy into this. 33 minutes into the video. It's a long fucking time. So hope you enjoyed it. Have a beautiful day.